The attack, about 15 persons died on the spot, while several others were still unaccounted for. The police say further development will be communicated in due course as investigation proceeds. Away from that now, let's take you to Abuja, where Nigeria has $52.88 million to fund the rural electrification project and to support its counter-terrorism project. The funds were recovered from the United States as proceeds of forfeited assets linked to former Minister of Petroleum Resources Dizani Alison Madueke and her associates. Celestina Area has more.
According to the agreement, the repatriated funds will be utilized through the World Bank to partly fund the rural electrification project to increase the reliability and availability of renewable energy in Nigeria. The balance of $2.88 million will be disbursed as a grant by the Nigerian government to the International Institute for Justice to support the rule of law and counter-terrorism project through the counter-terrorism capacity building for criminal justice sector practitioners in East, West and North Africa.
The asset return agreement being executed today also ensures that the return assets are applied directly to developmental projects. As agreed, the $50 million of the repatriated funds will be utilized through the World Bank to partly fund the rural electrification project to increase the reliability and availability of renewable energy in Nigeria. While the balance of $2.88 will be disbursed as a grant by Nigeria to the International Institute for Justice (IIJ) to support the rule of law and counter-terrorism projects through counter-terrorism capacity building for criminal justice sector practitioners in the East, West and North Africa.
Measures have been put in place to ensure that the repatriated funds are not only disbursed but also utilized transparently and accountably by the World Bank and IIJ, with periodic reports to be forwarded to Nigeria and the US on the implementation of the project.
I'm also very pleased and have great confidence in the ability of the Minister and his team to effectively monitor and ensure that these funds are indeed used for the benefit of the Nigerian people. We would not be signing this agreement if we didn't have confidence that this is exactly how the funds, these return funds, will be used. So again, this is a good day, I think, for our two governments, and a very good day for the people of Nigeria.
These project earmarks to be carried out will contribute in no small measure to creating the enabling environment for the socio-economic growth and development. Celestina Area, TVC News, Abuja.
Lawyer Fred Nziako joins us now on TVC News at 10 for more. Mr. Nziako, good to have you join us at this time. What are your thoughts on this asset recovery agreement and what is its implication? Mr. Nziako, I'm asking about your thoughts on this asset recovery agreement and its implication, especially for the anti-corruption war in Nigeria.
Well, it's a good one that the assets are being recovered, but I think that it is a drop in the ocean of the humongous wealth of Nigeria that is stolen and stashed abroad in various countries outside Nigeria, fertilizing the economies of countries outside Nigeria and famishing the Nigerian economy and serving the country of the needed funds. I think it's a good one, but what is more important for me and for most discerning Nigerians is that we put in place measures that will frustrate those who want to put their hand in the cookie jar and steal Nigerians' commonwealth and ensure that a stitch in time saves 9, and it is better to nip and act in the bud because it is less costly to nip it in the bud. It is also less time wasting and more effective to frustrate those who want to take the money than chasing after the money that has already been stolen. Because the very moment the money goes, it keeps moving from one account to another, from one country to another, thereby spending a lot of money in its recovery. So it is a good one, but if it is frustrated from happening, that would be much better.
So we'll get to those measures if time permits. But in the meantime, let's talk about, this history we've had. In 2022, the U.S., for instance, signed a deal with Nigeria to turn over about $23 million taken by former military ruler Sani Abacha. And after then, the ambassador, Mary Beth Leonard, said her country had agreed to repatriate more than $334.7 million linked to the same man. How would you say we have fared in administering previously repatriated funds?
There have been accusations by many Nigerians that it is very unfortunate that the funds that have been repatriated are reluted. People level such allegation when you do not see very credible evidence of what the funds have been used for. I know that the previous administration tried to deploy the funds in some projects which they mentioned. They said they will use it in building the second Niger Bridge, and they will also use it in building the Lagos-Ibadan Express Road, and they will also use it in building the Kano-Jigawa Express Road, and in some other road projects that needed such funds. Whether the funds were utilized for those projects, it is the Accountant General of the Federation that should tell Nigerians. Now Nigerians expect that this one that has just come in, Nigerians, already the Attorney General has indicated where the money will be utilized in rural electrification projects, 50 million of it, and 2.88 million to go into anti-corruption fights and issues against anti-terrorism. As laudable as they are, Nigerians will want judicious utilization of such funds because rural electrification is important with respect to agricultural production and every other micro, medium, and small-scale enterprises that take place in rural areas. So it is a good one. What we ask for is that the utilization should be very judicious and not be wasted.
We know some have queried how the rural areas that would benefit from this would be selected. But what are your recommendations on measures that can be taken to fight corruption and prevent leakages?
Well, the measures are there. It is nobody is. We don't lack measures to fight corruption. One of them is the whistleblowing policy, which of course seems to have died down because we no longer see whistleblowing because it takes two to tango. There is no way an official of government will take money from government or acquiescence of another officer of government. So what is important, what is very key and very important is that we rejuvenate the whistleblowing policy and ensure that those who blow the whistle are not protected, but that the whistleblowing should be effective. Secondly is to ensure that Public Procurement Act is respected, and to the extent that it will not be easy for anyone to abuse funds of government without any other person knowing and without the system flagging up the such abuse. And the thirdly is to ensure that there are sanctions, because if there are no sanctions for wrong acts, then the acts will not abate. We must ensure that there are sanctions, irrespective of whose ox is God, to ensure, irrespective of the political leaning of the government officials. It is not a case of come over to our party and your sins are forgiven. That is a fertile ground for corruption.
Right,
if we ensure that everybody who misconducts public funds is sanctioned, I think it will be enough deterrent, and then our country will get better.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nzako, for sharing your thoughts with us. Lawyer Fred Nzako joined us from Lagos. Thank you again. When TVC News at 10 returns, President Tinubu